In 40 years of motoring journalism, a question I was often asked was, what kind of car did I own? And I suppose because I was often driving luxury and performance brands, people sort of assumed that I'd have a BMW M or an AMG Mercedes or a Porsche.
"20 or 30 years ago, plenty of motoring journos didn't bother to own a car. Just like today's EV evangelists mostly don't own EVs.
My experience has always been different. Along with owning various semi-sensible Mazdas, Hondas, and Alfa Romeos, for the spaces between press cars, for the past 35 years I've had two consistent classic threads.
For 23 years, a 1963 Fiat 500 Giardiniera. And for the past 12 years, as my only car, my 1989 Porsche 911 Carrera 3.2.
Now, I paid $57,000 for this in 2012, and it was the same money as a new BMW 320i at the time. 5 years later, this was worth 3 times what I'd paid for it. Bricks and mortar is so boring. Today, we're at Sydney Motorsport Park for an SMSP track day with Driving Solutions. But first, let's go for a little drive.
I don't mind telling you I'm a bit nervous. I've never had this car on a track before, and I've never gone over 8/10 on the road, but this is the place to do it. Sydney Motorsport Park, track days. You probably know the turbo version of this same car. They called it the Widowmaker. Being very ginger into turn 1 here, because this is exactly the sort of scenario where this very antiquated rear engine design can sort of overcome you if you're not careful. So the backstory to me being in a 911 is that my mum bought herself a Porsche for her 50th birthday. It was a 944 Turbo, and I loved that car. Fast forward 20 years, I was approaching my own 50th birthday, and this is what I wanted. To me, this has always been the 911. Now, it went through a few engine capacity increases from 2.7 to 3 to 3.2 litres. This one makes 170 kilowatts, but it only weighs about 1,200 kilos. So it's not an especially quick car, but it's not just about straight line performance. If you want to be really nerdy about it, and I always do, this is actually the last 911. Porsche changed the model series in 1989 to become the 964.
I'm glad I gave myself the time to find what I really wanted, a well-optioned, Australian-delivered, final year 3.2 Carrera Coupe. The G-Series went through engine capacity increases from 2.7 to 3 to 3.2 litres, and digital engine management came with the comeback Carrera in '84. That link back to 1963 is kind of good and bad. The G-Series has the original torsion bar suspension front and rear, and that meant spring and geometry limitations that always made the high-speed handling a bit gamey. Porsches were burned into my brain at an early age. We actually knew people who were living the 911 story of driving to a race meeting, winning races, and driving home again. But today, this is not really a fast car. The 3.2 makes around 170 kilowatts and weighs just over 1,200 kilos. 0 to 100 takes about 6 seconds, which you'll still see off a Golf GTI. It's the pure enjoyment of learning its quirks and driving it well.
If you haven't done a track day, you're in Sydney, get out to Sydney Motorsport Park. Driving Solutions run these track days, and it's super safe. We got flag marshals everywhere. I felt 100% safe taking this old girl out on the track, and I'm just having a ball. Can't recommend it highly enough.
And you know, as much as the driving, it's the ownership and the community. I love all the arcane detail about the Porsche 911. You never stop learning or teaching. Or for instance, the latches for the boot and the fuel filler and the engine are all on this side of the car because, well, it's European. If you forget to do that, you'll gouge the roof there. And if you don't have this cable tie, you'll gouge the roof there. I don't know why I'm showing you the engine. They just look like a big industrial vacuum cleaner, but underneath this cooling shroud, the 6 separate finned cylinders look like a litter of motorbike engines.
It's got floor-hinged pedals like a Volkswagen Beetle. That's different. The G50 gearbox has a hydraulic clutch, but it's still kinda heavy. There's no power steering. The driving position is bolt upright and pretty cramped. Visibility's actually great, not like in a modern car. And let's not forget, it's still a real 2+2 seater. My 2 kids were happy back there until they hit their teens. And now check this luggage space for extended road trips. The ergonomics are conceptual. This is a car designed in 1963, trying to accommodate all the stuff people wanted in 1989. The heating, ventilation and air conditioning controls are here, and over there. Here's your exterior mirror adjuster. And here's the left-right switch for your mirror adjuster. Air-cooled Porsches are famously reliable, and the 3.2 has most of the bugs worked out, with Bosch engine management, hydraulic cam chain tensioners and better oil cooling. Even so, the valve guides wear out at around 150 to 200,000 Ks, meaning a top-end rebuild at about 12 to 15 grand. I'd figured a 911 would be so exotic that I wouldn't dare to work on it myself, but they were basically unchanged for so long, and there's so many decades of experience out there, you can pretty much find any part and answer any question on the internet.
Thanks for watching Retro Rides. Hey, if you want to get in touch about a classic 911 or any other classic car, please drop us a line in the comments below. Like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one.